Caffeine and Connections with Angie. Connect purpose, spirit, love, wealth, and networking. Relax and chill. Caffeine and Connections with Angie.
And we're back. We're back. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Caffeine and Connections. I'm your host, Angie Griffin. Oh man, Caffeine and Connections, where we as Black people come together unapologetically talking about health, love, awareness, wealth. And I am here with our Caffeine and Connections meetup member. This is what? This is the second one for 2026. So Teresa is who I have here.
Hey.
Welcome, Teresa.
Hey, everyone. Glad to have you when you view it.
Yeah, you're number 2 for 2026. This week we had, or by the time this comes out, it could be a couple weeks. We've had Dre.
Okay.
So, Teresa Huggins, and you've been coming to Caffeine and Connections now for how long? Do you think?
This month, towards the end of the month, I believe will be 1 year, actually.
Time is flying.
Actually started right, I want to say maybe it was right before or right after I started my current job.
Ah, awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you're a part of Caffeine and Connections. It's been an honor having you. I can't hear you. Say it again.
I said, I'm glad I found you guys.
Yeah. How'd you find us again?
On Meetup. I was
On
just
Meetup.
trying to look for, well, I'll talk later. I'll let you get.
No. That was
I'll say, like, yeah, I was on Meetup because I've been trying to find other professionals. I don't really have that in my area. I think my area that I live in is all about who you know. And that's kind of how I found Caffeine and Confections because I was trying to find a group of people that look like me. So, yeah.
Black professionals. Yes. So meetup.com. And I appreciate you also because not only do you show up, but you've invited family members and friends into the meetup that have shown up as well and brought their energy, which has been extremely delightful. So thank you for that. So Teresa, just like we do on Caffeine and Connections, I'm going to ask you to do your intro so the people can know who you are.
So, again, I'm Teresa Huggins. I am someone that loves everything when it comes to helping others. Number one, I always tell people that I'm a trainer by trade. No matter what I've done some type of training to help other people, no matter if it was in insurance, finance, no matter if it was in life, health arena. And now I work for the Department of War. I am what you call an agilist. I am a scrum master. I am a agile coach. I am a consultant of all things in regards to that as well. But beyond that, I am also in the process of pursuing my project management, cybersecurity. I plan to be enrolled for my master's this year. There's just so many things that I'm interested in. But beyond that, I am a wife. I am a mother of 2 lovely daughters. And that's just my story for now.
That's a tidbit. So a
That's
little
okay.
tidbit. That's the introduction.
Yes, that's the introduction.
So Teresa, tell us where you mentioned where you are. You couldn't really find people to connect with. Where are you located?
In the Birmingham, Alabama area. I'm roughly about maybe 30 minutes, maybe 35, 40 minutes outside of Birmingham, an hour from Montgomery. So yeah, like I've never working with the people that I work with here, I've never found my people, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is I'm talking about go-getters, people that may didn't have it easy. I feel like the people that I've always been around may have had it easy. The
Interesting.
drive is just different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that. And that kind of knowing how I grew up compared to what my kids were, I always try to instill that you have to have the drive to get where you're going. So it's just a little bit different for me. But and when I say I didn't find the people like me, it may be people out here that do things like what you're doing, but they just may not be my group of people, if that makes sense.
Right. Like your tribe, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. That's how it was with me. That's why Caffeine and Connections even started, right? Like, you know, I was in Florida and I was looking for, well, I kind of found some of my people through the BNI group in Orlando. And then when I moved to Tampa, it was a struggle. Even joining like a Black Tampa Facebook group, I still wasn't seeing people with that same energy. So I guess that's that tribe you're referring to. It's just like, yeah, y'all are cool, but hmm,
Yeah.
let me see what I can start. Cause they say if you create it, they will come.
You pray that they will come. And it's so funny that you say that because two things happened. This week alone, I signed up for a networking group, all women. But then I went and looked at the page, and it was just like all brunching, and that's all we're doing, like dressing up and brunching to different
Like
places.
a ladies who brunch type of thing.
And I'm like, well, if I just wanted to brunch, I would just go brunch, But maybe like, and you got the people on the yachts, and you got this, they going, and I'm just like, that's not me. That's not what my drive is, right? My drive is even just thinking about, like, I couldn't be really active in the call this week, but just listening into the conversations from this week and last week, and I'm just kind of hearing what people are doing. And I'm like, see, this is what I'm about. I want to be able to do stuff in my community. How can I figure that part of it out so I can do stuff like that?
Yeah.
When I say, like you said, my tribe, I need people that's like that. Like, that's the type of stuff I'm looking for. So it's just different. But I guess, like you said, you started it and they will come, right?
Yeah. I love those glasses, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So, you live in Alabama, but you're from Chicago originally, right? So
Born.
let's start getting down to the story because we know everybody has one. I always say that on Caffeine and Connections. How did you get from Alabama? How did you get, yeah, from Chicago to Alabama?
Okay, so from Alabama, I'm gonna go backwards. How about that?
Okay.
So I've been here in Alabama since '98. Believe it or
Okay.
not, I've been here since '98. I got here in February of '98. It was after the big, huge tornado. Literally, that following weekend, I moved here.
Wow.
It's the tornado of all tornadoes that I moved here right after it happened. So it's just like perfect timing. I got here in February of '98, and I always like to tell the story. I met my husband in July of '98. I was
Same
17
year.
years old, and we've been together ever since, right? Yes. So we'll be married 25 years in February. But what I will say, from before I came to Alabama, I was living in Atlanta area with my sister, with her kids. I had went to Atlanta because I was supposed to babysit her kids over the summertime.
Okay.
And then I was supposed to go back home, but I never made it back home, which is Ohio at the time. Never made it back home because I didn't have a home to go to. I end up I think I moved there maybe, I want to say either June or July of '97, to watch her kids and until I moved to Alabama. But still in high school, I was about to be a junior in high school and everything. End up having to drop out because I didn't have a home to go to.
Oh my
So I was
gosh.
living with my sister at the time with her three kids, babysitting her kids. And I always tell people, like, I'm a huge believer. So I always feel like the Lord did things and put things in my path for a reason. So for me, everything that I did or went through, it was the season for it so I can get where I am today, right? So for me, like, I stayed with my sister and I didn't do anything. I didn't go to high school. She didn't put me in school while I was there. I didn't have a job while I was there because there was no buses on the bus routes where she lived at. Like, I was
Where
just
did she live in Atlanta?
if she lived, well, Atlanta area. She lived like in Marietta area, but like kind of like farther away.
Okay.
Um, like I remember the only job that was there, I applied for like a QT and never got hired. So,
Wow.
but when I was there, the only thing I kept saying to myself was like, if I stay here, I'm gonna be another statistic. I
Mm.
stay here, I'm gonna be another statistic. So, my brother actually visited one year. I mean, during the time I was there, like in January, right before I moved here. Never knew he moved to Alabama ever. My brother moved from Ohio here, but he was in Ohio for college. And like I don't know, like he was with a bunch of white people or whatever because he requested to be separated from my mom so he can go to an all boys school on the north side of Chicago. It's like a whole deal. So he ended up moving to Alabama because he was tired of living that life and being surrounded by that, right? So he wasn't even here in Alabama for a year. He came to visit my sister out of the blue because nobody even had her address. I feel like, before social media, before cell phones, I don't know how people found people. I know that sounds so crazy. I just don't even understand it. But my brother
Wasn't it
literally,
the white pages? They would look them up, and I felt like we used to look people up in the white pages or yellow page. No, white pages, because yellow pages was business.
right? Because I was just like, how did he just show up on her doorstep one day? It never, to this day, I never even understood it. But he came there and he was telling us that he's living in Alabama now. He's going to school at an HBCU. He's going to school at Miles College. He's living with my grandmother on my dad's side of the family. He's just trying to kind of giving us an update on his life. So while he was there, I went ahead and talked with him in secret. And I was just like, I got to get out of here. I said, this is not the place for me. I have to get out of here. Is this space at our grandmother's house for me? And he told me no. He said, you don't want to go there. He was like, it's way too many people living here. So that's how the next thing I did was actually call my grandmother. And I told her, I said, look, I need to get out of where I'm at. This is not where I see myself. And my grandmother told me to come. She literally said, let's go. She said, I'm going to have your brother, because he was working at Greyhound at the time. She said, I'm going to have your brother get you a bus ticket to Birmingham. And that's how I got here.
Wow.
So got here, I think like on a Saturday or Sunday.
Wait, was your grandmother's house really that crowded, or your brother was just trying to deter you from
So,
going?
well, I'll say this. My grandmother has a brother who was, had a little money and maybe not the best way, but I'll just say everybody in Birmingham knew who he was. But he had houses everywhere.
Okay.
Grandmother had the biggest house,
Okay.
two pieces, one in the front and one in the back. The bottom part of her house had 4 bedrooms. The top part of her house was like a whole nother apartment besides a kitchen.
Wow.
So, was it a lot of people there? Yes. But was there space for me? Yes.
Nice. Well, that
So
was good.
good. And it worked out. I literally, by that Tuesday, I had already had a job. Tuesday, I had a job. I was enrolled to start taking GED courses. Like my grandmother literally made sure everything that I wanted was in place for me.
Wonderful.
And I say all of that because I never had a relationship. To know this, I never had a relationship with her ever in my life. I've never even been around her ever. So this is kind of why it was like really a big deal. I've never been around that side of the family that live in Birmingham ever in my life. None of them. So when
But
I
she was
moved here,
still so welcoming.
she was still so welcoming, everything. I never had a relationship with her, never met any of the people here, none of my aunts, my dad lived with her, never had a relationship with him, anything. So for her to open up her home and be like, so this is your plan. Okay, you got your job, you want to get your GED. She literally took me and was like, well, this is where you need to go to. This is where we're going to go sign you up at so you can go get your GED. She took me shopping the first week I got there, bought me a bunch of clothes. Because mind you, when I went to my sister's house, it was summertime. I've never been shopping since I moved to my sister's house. It's wintertime. It's all these things. So that first week I got, before I even started my job, she took me shopping. She took me to go to get my nails done. She got my hair done. So all the things that you think that you would want as a young lady, right? At this time, mind you, I'm still 17. So that's the story of that, from Atlanta to Alabama. Before I got to Atlanta, I was living in Ohio. That was just like very wacky. I never knew that was going to happen. Um, but what I will say, that my oldest sister had went to Ohio for college. My mom ended up moving in the same city with her and moving in with her. My sister moved there with her, moved my mom there with her
Okay.
because she wanted my mom to get a fresh start.
Okay.
So that was, the whole time I was there was good until it wasn't. When my oldest sister decided to leave college and go back home to Chicago, my mom stayed. And when that happened, that's when the chaos happened. So my mom was never around. Mind you, I'm the only one there. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. So I'm the only one there. No uh nobody to support, no family there, no nothing. Everybody, everybody's in different cities, states, and doing their own thing. And I was just home alone all the time. My mom was never there, and the only thing that you can think of was like the bad stuff, right? That's all I kept thinking about, was like, this is what she's doing, I don't want to be a part of it or whatever. So when my sister asked me to come to Atlanta to help her, I'm like, well, this will give me a break, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the story from Ohio. But from Chicago to Ohio, how I got there, my mom was a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
I think I found out that my mom was a drug addict maybe around 11 or 12. My dad was never in the picture, but he had some siblings that were. I had an aunt on my dad's side, and it's always love to tell the story how I got in contact with them. My aunt on my dad's side, husband, ended up moving down the street from us. Her and my brother started dating, and they just started talking about their family.
Oh my gosh.
They started talking. That's when I realized that we're first cousins.
Oh my gosh.
Got in touch with my dad's side for the first
This is
time.
before Ancestry
Yes,
and all that.
yes. So that's how we got in touch with my dad's side of the family. At the time, the only person that we communicated when that happened was my cousin's mom, because she was, I hate to say it this way, at the time of the people that were talking to us, she was the only one that had her stuff together, right? And then later in life, my uncle, that was 1000%, he was always on my dad's side. He got himself together and clean. And then him and his family came around and started being around us. And those were the only two people in my whole dad's side of the family that I ever had a relationship with until I moved to Alabama. But it was like 5 of them living in Chicago, but they
Oh.
never tried to communicate or have a relationship with me. But I say all of that to say,
And they knew about you.
and they knew about me. Like, it
Okay.
was 5 of us. My mom and my dad was married for a very long time. But I always tell people, like, it takes a village. It was at times where my grandmother, she has 6 kids. I'm gonna tell you, at one time I couldn't stand her because I thought that she treated all her children differently based
Mm.
on how well they turned out in life. But then I realized, like, you raised 6 girls. Like, what is that like as a woman, a single woman, raising 6 kids on your own with no help?
Wow.
And, the older I got, the more we were able to communicate and have conversations. She was always considered the outsider of the family.
Your grandmother.
My grandmother was.
Mm-hmm.
So she never had the help. She always had the drive. She's the one that went to school and, went and got her master's degree and different things like that. So it's just like different things like that that just kind of make you realize where your drive comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I would say for me, I would just say for me, it's just knowing that maybe my story wasn't my story by itself, if that makes sense. Because it's just always something out there that makes it, the dynamic change on why we move and navigate the way we do. Um, and I say all that to say this year we went to Mississippi for
Mm-hmm.
my mom's mother's side of the family reunion for the first time. I've never been to one, and it was like a huge deal. Nobody on my grandmother's side of the family came. None of her kids came. Just me and my siblings and our kids and
So
one of
your grandmother had 6 daughters, and none of their family showed up
no, mm-mm.
except you and your sister.
Just me and my siblings. Just me and my siblings. We all showed up, and when we did, it was like learning history. One of my cousins, he's like very, very well known. And he was just saying that, you can't be mad that your mom's side of the family is bougie.
Hmm.
A lot of people say my mom's side of the family is completely bougie. They're very well educated, all the things. And he was like, you know why? He was like, because when all of them, my mother, family, and all of them left Mississippi and moved up yonder, they made something of themselves. Like we have, like, I don't want to go too deep into it, but literally, you can trace my mother's side of the family all the way to when they were sold into slavery.
Right.
That's how deep it goes.
Yeah. I hear stories like that about a lot of remember when I was brought up you being from Chicago, a lot of the it stems from Mississippi, a lot of the families, and it's so deep rooted.
Yeah.
Do you know
So,
what part of Mississippi?
I want to say, oh gosh, we went to so many different places this year in Mississippi. I can't even think of it. But we're a part of the Kizzy Jordan clan, and it's huge. Like it is so huge. I like the people I found out that's related to me, and which I've already heard things throughout the years, right? But
Mhm.
until you actually see and be like, oh wow, like they're actually here. And it's just
Mhm.
things of that nature that you just really learn. Like people that's no longer here, that we have all the pictures and the history. We have a lot of historians in our family that just really keep up with a lot of stuff. And like today, I wish we would even have that for my dad's side of the family, which we don't.
Mm.
So I know maybe a snippet of first cousins, and that's it.
Oh man. One thing I appreciate, and I'm so glad you shared all this because I love talking about the Black family.
Yeah.
Like I love because the Black family, not saying no other cultures, families have this, but the dynamics are always just so amazing to me due to so many circumstances, right? Secrets, due
Mm-hmm.
to secrets, due to hostility, due to slavery, due to money, love, resiliency, all these different things make the Black family what it is through the good, the bad, the ugly. And the dynamics are always so interesting to me. So thank you for sharing that. But it sounds like you share with and I love the fact that your grandmother on your paternal side just opened her doors to you with a
Yeah,
simple after a simple phone call.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I tell people that all the time because the first time I ever seen her in my life that I remember, I always tell people. I mean, I've probably seen her before. I just don't remember. Uh,
Right.
it was at my brother's funeral.
Mm.
Because my brother, I think I had just left like my junior high or high, I think maybe graduation, and my brother was killed.
The brother that
No, my other
a
brother.
different brother. Okay.
He was killed right after, I think it was like graduation, or it was either graduation or like, I think it was graduation. It was like junior high graduation from like eighth grade, and he was killed that day, which the
Mm.
dynamic was never the same because we were like very close together.
Mm.
So birthdays like right next to each other, everything. So
Wow.
it's just, just that era of trying, it's just a lot. I just, like I said, the Lord does things for a reason.
Absolutely. And this is my first time hearing this story. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, and I knew I was excited about talking to you. Cause every time you do talk, I'm like, there's something, she's got a story. I can't wait to talk to her. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation. I'm learning so much about you, but it also explains so much about you, right? And
Yeah.
your ambition and your drive and you being the person that you are. Like, oh my gosh. And I'm excited. I was excited for you then. I'm even more excited for you now.
Thank you.
No, seriously, because you don't never know what a person had to deal with in their past to get to where they are. I always say, Sankofa, you got to look back
Yeah.
in
No.
order to move forward.
No, seriously, no. 1,000%. Because when I had to leave Chicago to go to Ohio, I was living with that same sister that I moved to Ohio to Atlanta with. She was in Chicago when I was in junior high. I was living with her then when I
Hmm.
was in junior high because I didn't have a home to go to. So it's just
Because
so
of the tornado.
no, no, no. The tornado happened in Alabama before I moved here.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
but in Chicago, before I had to move to Ohio, when my mom finally got herself together when she moved with my sister, I was living with my other sister in Chicago at the time. At that time, she had two kids. And I was living with her, just started my freshman year of high school and all the things, right? So very different dynamic of leaving what you're used to and your surroundings. Because even when I was in junior high, it was a time that I was staying with my maternal grandmother. And that
Okay.
didn't work out, right? Um, but you know, I didn't speak to her for a long time after she kicked me out. But, it's just things like that. I just really had to grow. And I can 1,000% say I hold a lot of grudges for her all the way up into adulthood. But
Hmm.
it wasn't until, like I said, the older you get, and then you just really start seeing and navigating the waters of people.
Yeah.
So,
Would you say you had to grow up fast?
most definitely, I had to grow up so fast. Like, it was times that when I was in junior high, I had nowhere to live. My mom was living with her boyfriend and his twin brother. I had nowhere to live. I was living with friends at times before I moved with my sister. I stayed with my grandmother, and it was the most uncomfortablest place that I ever lived in my life. When I was there by myself, because it was a time where all my grandmother's six kids and all their kids lived with her. Like, we was
Mm.
like one big happy family. But when I lived there, when it was just four of us in the household, it was very uncomfortable for me.
Mm.
Like, one of those things as a teenager where you just cried yourself to sleep at night, or just continue to just push yourself to have the drive. But I tell people all the time, and I tell my kids, like, in reality, what I've witnessed, because it was some of my other cousins that kind of dealt with a lot of same things, but I had aunts that still kept a roof over their kids' head versus my mom, right? That was going through the same stuff, that was on drugs and stuff. But I see that all of my cousins who went through stuff and didn't have it easy, we majority of us, I would say, have the drive to push ourselves to excellence.
Hmm.
compared to the ones that didn't have it hard, that just had it handed to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to have stuff handed to them and not willing to do what they need, even as adults, 40 plus years old,
Yeah.
40 years old, still waiting for handouts or blaming somebody else for their story. So
That's so interesting. Oh Lord, now we got to talk about privilege. Crack my neck a little bit. Oh my God.
it's different. It really is different because even with my daughter, like the last relationship she had, I think the person wanted her to depend on him.
Mm,
And my daughter is not that girl. My daughter is not that girl to be like, oh, you can pay my rent, you can do this, you can do. I didn't raise kids like that. I
right.
raised my kids to be like, I gotta take care of myself. I'm not about to depend on nobody. And it's like he wanted her to depend on him, so they're no longer together. That's not what he wants. He wants somebody to say, I need you. I didn't raise kids like that. So yeah, y'all not the right match.
I feel like that's another Caffeine and Connections episode, but I feel like that's a conversation I really feel like we Black women need to have about. I don't have children, but I was raised to be independent also,
Mm-hmm.
by a grandmother and then my mother, my sister as well. It's just the two of us, right? Just like you. She's two girls, my mom had two girls. And I honestly sometimes wish that someone would have said, learn to be dependent. Um, Independent was great, but I wish somebody would have learned it, not dependent, but interdependent,
Yeah, that's a
because that's
different.
the yeah,
No, I'm in agreement with you though.
yeah.
Um, but when I say that, I'm saying that he literally don't even want her to have a mom.
No, I've met some people like that in my day too,
That
and
ain't it.
control.
That is not it.
Some that comes along with a little control most times from my
And
experience.
that's what I'm saying. It's a difference. I can understand you saying that, hey, we married, let me take care of you, but we're not even married.
That
That's
part
a little
too.
bit different. That's a little
Yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And how was he raised? Right? How was he raised? Yeah.
You know what? And that's what I be telling my kids. I be like, we have to make sure when you're dating, we have to make sure we have the right type of conversations.
Hmm.
So no, 1000%.
Oh, that's another Caffeine and Connections. We need
Question,
to have a panel discussion about this.
and that's the question. That is the question. Like, how were you raised?
How are you
Did
raised?
mom and dad communicate with each other? Like when it was conflict, how was that in the household, right?
Or was it in the household? I didn't grow up with I
So
didn't see it in mine. Did you see it in yours?
my mom, my mom wasn't married when I was, so that's what I be telling people. Like, for me, conflict is not a thing for me because I never had to deal with it. Like my mom, like she had a guy friend that she was dating for a long period of time, but not one time did I ever hear them argue. Now, I do know, like, when my mom was married to my dad, though, that was before my time. And my other
Mhm.
siblings saw all of that, and I didn't. So it's different,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It's different for me because I didn't witness it, but I'm the soft life. I don't
Love
want,
that for you.
I'm not saying my life is like that, but that's how I grew up. Like,
Okay.
I don't want to argue. Like, let's have a conversation mindset. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, that's how
Absolutely.
I live. And I tell people, like, I've never had to witness arguing. I never had to witness if that and and I'm speaking of these things because as a grown adult, 45 years old today, I just be like, I didn't ask that question.
Mhm.
I didn't ask the question of how did your parents communicate? What did you witness as a child in your household? How did your parents treat you? Like,
Right.
I didn't ask those type of questions. But for me, I know how to have those conversations with my kids.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Something you didn't have an opportunity to get when you were
Right.
a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can have that conversation and be like, make sure you're asking these questions because you probably know what have they did any work to make sure that doesn't happen when they decide to get married?
Right.
So it's just things like that dynamic for me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. And as you were talking before, when you were talking about your family dynamic, right, and your mom, and then your grandmother, and just all the different situations, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if that experience, because I can almost tell. I can't. It's your stories. You can tell it better, but I can kind of. It's just like I can see where her ambition comes from, right? Right. So it's, but also there's a part of me that was wondering, like, how did that affect her personal life? The fact that you've been married to your husband for 25 years is amazing. And if you didn't see those relationships in your younger years, how are you able to maintain a marriage of 25 years without that kind of influence? It's got to
Yeah,
be a
that's
gift.
a great question. So for me, you know, it's a great question. And let me tell you this. I was talking to somebody in my family the other day, and they had made this comment, was like, I remember when I used to be around you guys, you were such a different person. And I just kind of heard that maybe last year for the first time by the same person.
Mm,
And they said it to me recently again back in November. And I was like, this was the first time I said, can you explain that? Right.
mhm.
And I'm like, is it a possibility that you just probably just really didn't know me? Right. And this is my own sibling, the one I lived with when I was in junior high and the one that I lived with when I was 16, 17 years old.
Mhm.
I was just like, is it a possibility you probably just didn't really know me? Like, to know who I am a person that always had a drive. I'm going to make you laugh real quick. Growing up, I went through so much crap and I witnessed in my life very early. But starting in elementary school, my goal was to always be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to do this. I'm going to be married, double income, no kids. Nobody in my life is going to know where I live at in my family. I'm only going to come around when I want to come around. Like that was like the whole business for me. So when my life shifted and things didn't go in the direction that I wanted, it could have,
I can see it.
but then I found love, right? And
Yeah,
then I
right.
screws everything up. But um, I say this, I just had this idea that I always tell people, like, even as an adult, 20s, 30s, 40s, I have this friend that I've been friends with since I was in my 20s in Alabama. And I told her, I said, I said, I know this sounds very arrogant, but I don't really understand how I came from this family.
Mm,
My dynamic is totally different from all of them. I'm just a different person. And that's from my siblings to, the people that I was around on my other side of the family. I was just always different. My
mhm.
drive was always different, right? When I think when I was a teenager living in Georgia, it was the most depressed I think I ever been in my life at that time because I wasn't where I wanted to be. Again, the first week I came, where was I? I had a job and it was in a program to get my GED because I know where I want it in my life, right? So I say all of that to say that most of the time we think that, people think they know who you are, but they have no idea, right?
Right.
So for me, I say all that to say when my sister made that comment, that's what I had to tell her. I'm like, you probably just didn't really know who I was, right?
Right.
Because I'm different. Like my sister, before she got out of high school, I think by her senior year, that she would have been a senior in high school, she had already had 4 kids.
Mhm.
I'm at the time, what, 13 years old, 14 years old? No, I was 15. I was 15 at the time. 14, about to be 15. And I'm just like, I was writing letters to people. I'm like, this is not the life I want for me. I'm still in Chicago at the time.
Okay.
I'm writing people that chose to go to college. I'm sending letters to people in college that I
Wow.
know for life. just kind of telling them like, well, this is what's going on here. I can't wait till I'm able to experience what you experience, as a teenager, 15, 14, 15 years old, because my drive has always to be something greater. Going back to my family dynamic, it has not always been great. My husband has done things that I'm not happy with, but I had to keep going back to God, right? And
Mhm.
because, like I said, I'm a true believer and I'm just real big on, have an understanding of what this covenant means to the Lord, right?
Right.
And sometimes things do get hard, but am I going to leave because it's hard? That's what I had to keep saying to myself. What am I going to do different? Is
Right.
it anything that I can do different, right? Things of that nature. And that still goes on today. As next month to be 25 years, it's just the same dynamic. What do we choose to do when it get hard? Now, am I saying that, because I was having this conversation with my aunt, one of my mom's sisters, we're extremely close now.
Okay.
I was having a conversation with her 2 years ago because she divorced her husband. And I just told her, I said, I just feel like people just give up so easily. But then I also understand there's times where you like, I can't take this. You know what I mean? I understand that. And as a woman, I will be the same. So we just have to figure out what that is for us individually, right?
Right.
Because every time it could look different. My situation and your situation could be totally different. Maybe it's something that he's doing that I don't like because he played too much. He may do this. He may be in my ear too much. He may, his drive. I tell people all the time, I feel like sometimes I feel that my husband want me to be the same 17-year-old girl that I was when he met me. And
Hmm.
I tell people, and I tell him, I'm like, if that's who you're looking for, she's way gone. I don't know what to tell you. Because if you was the same person, I wouldn't want to be with you.
Do you ever watch what's her name? DeAndre Whitfield and his wife. What's her name? Sally
Sally would.
Richards.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about though.
He
Yes,
he said something the other day like, "My wife is not the same woman that I married 22 years ago." And he was like, "And I'm not the same person I was 22 years ago. Thank you, Jesus."
but you know what? My husband think he is, and that's the biggest thing that my biggest fight with him is like you're not the same, but you
Yeah.
think so. It's just that.
We always will evolved.
Yes,
We have to
yes.
evolve. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just like that dynamic. It's just that the dynamic of willing to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't, I'm not saying that I'm one of those people that, again, 45 years old, I'm not with the conflict. I'm not about to argue. I have a
You
kid in
wanna
the house.
teach me how to do that? I'm 45 years old and I still have it in me.
Literally, it's just a prayer. I promise you. My daughter told me, she was like, Mom, you are doing so good. Like, you don't even entertain the conversation. And I said, I can't. I said, because it takes two. It takes two people to argue. And if I'm not saying nothing to you, then who are you talking to?
Right.
Now I just let him have the conversation with himself. I don't know how helpful that is, but you gotta
You
do what you gotta
steer. I
do
call
sometimes.
that steering. You take control and you steer it and you just let it,
Yeah.
on your end, because you can only control your side.
And that's what I say. I'm like, hey, I did the work on me. What you gonna do on you?
Yeah, yeah.
All I can do.
I just think it's beautiful the fact that for one, even though you didn't you had a life where you moved around quite a bit in your youth, and some people might say, I've heard this before, even about
Yeah.
myself, because I've moved around a little bit when I was younger. The reason why certain people, or me, I'll just use myself as an example, the reason why you don't have a stable relationship is because you didn't have a stable childhood, and that could be very true for so many different people. But that's why I said that, because a lot of things are based off of people's childhoods, right? You have childhood traumas, so on and so forth. But some people are just really gifted with,
Yes.
certain personality traits like yourself. that helps you carry things along the way.
Yeah, no, seriously, we do. We do have to have it. But time will tell, you know. How it
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at my notes here. So we talked well, you gave out a whole laundry list of things that you do, right? Or you said you call yourself a trainer and but you do a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of expertise per se. So, I want to touch on Caffeine and Connections right before was it when we started the new year, right before the new I think when we just started the new year. You on the very first one of 2026, you told us what your goals were.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I stopped in my tracks like, wow, dang. Like
Yeah.
I need to check my goals. I feel like my goals are pretty good on the but no, mine are so much broader. Yours were very detailed and you just sounded like you were so ready, right? So I'm like, we got to talk to Teresa about her goals. You know, for when I know you talk about getting your PMP. So you had a list of goals. I don't know if you want to share them with the rest of the world, but please feel free if you'd like. But 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 even bigger than the goals, because the way you set up your goals, right? If you could talk a little bit about that, and I think we talked about quarterly, if I'm not mistaken, on a quarterly basis, because I believe in that as well. And then, like, yeah, we'll start there.
Okay, so my goals for this year only goes through March, right? My goals only goes through March right now. Do I know what other plans is for the year that I would like? Yes, but I only straightforward have through March. So for me, again, my plan is to get my PMP. I am also planning to get my cybersecurity certification this quarter as well. Again, I do work full time, like Angela said. I do work full time. But at the same token, I also have a plan last year. One of the things that I said when I first got on Caffeines and Connections is that I really wanted to start a um, social media presence. I wanted to do basically a story of how I prepare for the Lord when I go to church every week, right? But I also wanted to make passive income from it.
Wait a minute. I remember that now. Oh my gosh. I remember that. That seems like so I remember that now. I'm like, "Wait a minute. When you came on, that's exactly what you said you wanted to do the video."
Yes.
We have gone so far from that.
So I'm still interested in doing that, but maybe not the passive income part. That may just be something I just do because I love it. To know anything about me with your red lipstick on, Angie. I love makeup. I love to dress up. I don't care. Like back in the day when I used to go shopping at Walmart, I used to be the chick in there walking with the heels on. Watch putting flats on in the car. But I'm a lover of all things makeup, shoes, purses, just getting dressed up and going nowhere. That's me and I love it. And I love to showcase it. And it's not really for people, it's really for me. And when I go to church, it's like 200% of that. I'm giving 200.
What?
Yes. So I always get people telling me, like, Teresa, I've never seen you in the same outfit. I've never seen you
Do
in
you
this.
wear a church hat too?
I have to have a head covering for church. So
Okay.
I have hats, I have the fedoras, I have all the cute little anything that you think,
Okay.
right? So I'm a mother of all things fashion and makeup. Okay.
Okay.
So with that being said, I am really in just want to do that in social media because I know how hard that I prepare myself, not just every day, Monday through Friday, but even when I go to the Lord's house. Because when I walk in, I'm walking in for him, not anybody else. So it's very big for me. That's why I really want to do that on social media. But beyond that, I want to. Back in November, I was just on my way to work, listening to some reels one day, and I saw somebody like doing a live and discussing how they have this training on sale for help you plan social media, how to set up your social media and different things. If you want somebody to set up your whole business for you, they'll set it up for you and you can start making money. So it was just like a whole thing. I can pay somebody $40 and they can do this and all the things. Real big group of people. It was one lady that was doing it previously that started her own business, basically because the person that she was going through, they were getting a cut of everything that she did after she
Hmm.
started her business. She decided to start her own platform and like, hey, you're going to get 100% of your sales or whatever you do. And I don't want any money. I paid you to show you how to do it. Why am I
Okay.
going to take your money? So she started her own platform doing that and actually teaching and showing people how to get this social media bag, basically. So I
Okay.
paid for it, of course, because that's who I am. Just giving all my money away. I paid for it. So first quarter or whatever, that is also on my list to make sure because they actually have little things that you have to do. Like within an hour, you can literally do this. I had did this the week of Thanksgiving, which was a very busy time for me because I was doing
Mhm.
project management related work for Thanksgiving and preparing for that. And it was just so random. She was like, if you do all of this, because I think it was like on a Monday, she was like, Black Friday is this. If you do all this by Thursday, you can start making money by Friday for Black Friday.
Is that
So
for
that's
real though?
it, huh?
Is it for real? It's
It's
legit?
for it's for real, legit. Everything. I just didn't at the time. November. It was the end of November, week of Thanksgiving. December came in, and I was like, "This is gonna be first quarter goes."
Okay.
Every single person that is in that platform are making $20,000 to $30,000 a month.
Is she on the school platform? What is she doing hers on?
I think she is. She may be on the school platform. Yes, she is
Okay.
on the school platform.
Okay.
And so, and for me, I'm not really, if I get the extra money, great. I always say I'm going to try to push and drive, right? But it's what we do. The particular person that I was watching on the live feed, she was an administrator of a hospital and quit her job.
Wow.
How, right? So I was very intrigued by her story and just going in and looking at a lot of things and, watching and learning. So that is on my list. Going back to
People
the
are
first,
really out here getting the bag, Teresa, huh? As they say.
I'm trying to have passive income in
Mhm.
2026. That is my goal. My goal is to have passive income where, and this is where all my goals stem from. My goal is to have passive income by the end of 2026.
Is that
How
the
am I?
biggest goal? Is that like your top tier goal?
It's my top tier goal. By the end of 2026, my goal should be I'm having money coming in from somewhere besides a job, right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, last year, not last year, 2023 December, no, 2024 December, I took a class that I passed. And if I went and did extra work within this class, I can start training and teaching and getting paid for it. I didn't do anything with it for the whole 2025.
Okay.
I could be making money in 2025 and I did nothing with it. But that's because I got comfortable. So that's why when you came into 2026, my quarter one was already set in motion to say, what the heck are we going to do this year? And
So
that's where it stemmed from.
So let's talk about these. So we talked about the goals. Let's talk about your strategy for making sure these things are in the bag and get checked off the list.
Yeah. So for me, so a couple of things. So for me, I discussed the three things that I know for sure that's going to happen this year: my PMP, my cybersecurity, and this social media class. Right. I look at stuff like when we're in college, right? So, and I also discuss going back to school for my master's degree. So I look at stuff like, hey, this is where I am today. How am I going to get there? When we were in high school, my daughter always told me, like, why am I in school from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock? Why are we here all day? Like, I really just need to be taking my core classes and get out of here. But for me, like, looking at her and her dynamic, she reminds me of myself. So it's like, what could I be doing with my time
Mm-hmm.
when I'm not doing something? So maybe a couple of years ago, I took a class and I wasn't working at the time. I was off. And I sent a message to my family and my friends and said, hey, if we're not talking about XYZ, we have nothing to talk about.
Mm.
Do not call me. I will not call you because this is what's on my mind right now. I surrounded with myself. It's almost like going to college to medical school or for a law degree, right? You spend your time in the library because this is what you want to do, right? So even with me working right now, working 8 hours, driving an hour and 10 minutes back and forth each way, I'm either listening to something that has to do what I'm trying to do, or I'm focusing on something that's gonna get me closer to my goal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the dynamic of where I'm at today. So when it comes to studying and things like that, I look at it as block schedules. Just like we blocked out the quarter, this quarter we're going to do this. I'm not going to look into second quarter yet. I know somewhere in 2026 I need to be enrolled for my master's program. But where
Right.
that goes, I don't know yet because I got to figure out the first quarter first, right? So
Yeah.
within my first quarter, I gave myself 30 days for my PMP,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the same time, I also know I got to get this cybersecurity. I also know I got to get this. But what happened when we were in college? What happened when you were in high school? How did we study? What did we do, right? You block stuff out. It's like a block schedule.
Yes.
So you block it out, and if it's important to you, you will make it happen. These things are important to me. It's not that I'm saying I would like to do. No, I am going to do. So that's how
Okay.
I focus it. Like somebody sent me a message last night talking about, well, next Saturday, this is what's going to be going on. And I sent them a message this morning and said, thank you so much for the invite. Unfortunately, I have a lot going on that takes more priority. I wish
Mm-hmm.
you guys have all the fun that you can possibly have because
Yeah.
my priorities are my goals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes what we have to take in effect and say, you know what, fun is going to be later. If I have to focus here in 2026, I'm going to make it happen. But my goal is the college that I'm going to. My plan is they have it where their courses are set by a 6 month period,
Mm-hmm.
not a semester, right?
Right.
And you can take as many classes as you want within a 6 month period. Block schedule. Hey, if I gotta study for 30 minutes and I get tired of studying that subject, I'm gonna go to the next subject and study that because my goal is not always about how long you study, is are you recalling the information you are studying? And
So
that's
you would say you had great time management skills?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm real big on time management. It's one of my, as my daughter would tell me, why do you have so many alarms going off? I have alarms going out for everything. I don't try to memorize anything. I have an alarm for everything and every system that I have because it would be beneficial for me, to know, okay, I've actually been studying on this for a while. Let me, stop doing this and move to the next thing. It's just what our goals are and how we set them. Whatever that looks like for everybody is different. Have I always been this way? I was a really smart kid that had the desire to do a lot of great things that I didn't get to do. My kids tell me to this day, Mom, won't you go to law school? That's like really something that you always had the desire to do. But that's not my desire anymore.
Mm.
I love when I tell anybody, if I was to do all the things and make all the money, I would still want to be training or teaching somebody something because that is like a passion of mine. I love to teach people,
Okay.
not in high school. Like what I would love to do, one of my companies I worked for previously, they had a program where you went to high schools and taught kids about different certifications and different things you can do outside
Mm-hmm.
of high school if you don't want to go to college, right? I would love
Right.
to teach kids that. I would love to show them, well, hey, maybe if you love doing this, well, let me show you about this. Because that's not something they show us besides the trades. That's the only thing they showing us is trades and cosmetology and nursing.
I feel like you and Missy, that's based in St. Pete, need to get
Mhm.
together because she was. Do you remember just the other day?
I was just listening to her. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then
She was
her,
so distraught about that.
yes. And that's why I just be like, but it's more than that. Like, let's have a conversation. And then even the one that was talking about the program for the homelessness and things of that nature. Because I back in the day, I used to tell people, do not buy me anything for my birthday. Y'all can give me some money and I want to go feed the homeless. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I'm like real big on that type of stuff, but I don't have or know the people in my area to make stuff like that happen. To be like, hey, let's find a place, let's do this. Now places are where I do know where the shelters are. You can't even take food there.
Yeah, a lot of places have restrictions.
Yeah,
I think now it's just creating the
yeah,
spaces, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Again, when you create it, they will come.
yeah. See, if I have all this passive income, I could just do all the things
Yeah.
that I be thinking about. Like I just be having the passion and all the things that be going in my brain. And
And you'll
yesterday,
have the support too.
yeah, yesterday I was talking to one of my church members, and I was like, I need you to get your PMP. Like I need you. Like you need to do this. He was in the military, and he works with my husband and has been doing project management forever in the day. And I'm like, you need to get this because when you retire in a few years, I need you to have this. So you can go get you a job and you can go do this and work from home. You know, I'm just that person that I'm always, and I will say this, to be able to help people and have a passion to help people can also be a problem because you're always trying to help somebody be better. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to be better. I literally had that epiphany. I had that epiphany this year. I really did. I
I'm
said,
glad you had that epiphany because boy, you will be wasting a lot of breath, hot air
yeah,
trying
and
to encourage
I did.
people.
I did. I literally had to say to myself, like, wow. Like, why are you trying to help people that don't want to help themselves? Like everybody don't have the drive or want to do anything.
But Teresa, you know what, also, I guess you can look at it that way, but maybe, what you do is you continue to plant that seed
Yeah,
and leave it alone.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes that's what you do is you plant the seed, leave it alone.
And that's what I've been doing. I say it one time and I leave it alone. The last time I said something to somebody younger, and she was just like, "Why everybody keep trying to help me?" And she was like, "Why I can't just be okay where I'm at?" And I'm like, "What 20-year-old person is okay with making $12?"
Yes, I
Like,
mean she hasn't seen anything better probably, or her mindset is not there.
I was like, that was
Ho-
the last one.
Hopefully she don't wait till she get to be 40 to try to change the mindset. You telling her right.
I said, Teresa, that's it. She was like, I'm talking to myself and I'm like, girl, that's it. Like, you keep trying to help people, let them come to you. That's what I had to say to myself. But then, as you just said, no, plant the seed. They take it, they don't. They come back to you, they don't.
Yeah.
And, you have to keep having them conversations with yourself. I just want everybody to be great,
Yes.
but that's my problem. That's a me problem.
How do you do all this that you're doing from being a wife, full time working with the Department of War, getting your PMP, studying to become a church fashionista through Facebook and all the things, right? Like, how do you do all this with it, and how do you avoid burnout doing all of this?
But you know what? When you do what you love, it's just different, right? And that's just me. Like, I do like project management stuff at church. I do stuff outside of church. So if you love what you do, one of my biggest things is if you love what you do, you're gonna keep doing it.
Mhm.
You're not gonna have a problem with it. My boss, he said this to me because I love to cook. I don't think I ever said that on the show. I love to cook. I am a self-taught chef. I love to cook. My kids
Yep.
kept telling me I need to set up, that's what my YouTube channel needs to be, and da 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 da. And I was like, but then I'm not gonna love it.
Mm,
I said, then I'm not gonna love it because that's gonna be a real work.
make
Like
it a job. Yeah.
cooking, I'm doing all the things. It's not gonna be fun for me. I'm in the kitchen learning how to make vegan strawberry cakes and vegan chocolate cakes and all the different things that
I would love to hear some of these recipes and
I love just to create and do things no matter what it is, but I don't want cooking to become a job where I'm
right.
like, oh, I gotta record today, or I gotta do this, or I gotta do that. You know, my youngest daughter, both of my kids love to cook. Just
Mhm.
know that they love to cook. Um, but I'm just in a space that I don't want to give that away
Mhm.
because it's not gonna be fun for me anymore. When I had just went to Texas for the week of Christmas because my job had closed, and I had some oxtails in the deep freezer, and my daughter hasn't been able to come home for real. So me and my youngest, we just drove up there, and I was like, "Hey, oxtails." She was like, "Ooh, yeah, yeah." So I went shopping, did all the things, bought all the groceries before I even went to Dallas. Packed up my car, got there that night, marinated oxtails, doing all the things, doing everything I need to do. And it was just okay in the middle of the night cooking and enjoying myself. I'm not going to want to do those things if it becomes a job.
Unless all you did was prop your phone up somewhere in your kitchen and press record, and
I'm
then,
not going to just like, know, oh, I got to make this.
it might be fun or have somebody else be like, "Record this."
It could be. I'm just not there yet, right? Maybe it could be something I just do randomly uploads, right? It could be. But just right now to say, oh, you need to start a cooking channel and do all this on YouTube, I'm not there yet. I'm not.
Yeah.
My mom was a chef. Like my mom was a chef before she passed away. When she finally got her life together, FYI, she lived in Alabama.
Okay. She moved back to Alabama. She moved to Alabama too?
To Alabama, guess where? In my paternal mother's house, grandmother's house.
Ooh, she was bringing oh, she said, "Welcome home, everybody."
Mother was deceased at the time. She was deceased. We were
Oh,
cleaning out the house and all those things. And my mom was just like, she's tired. She's tired of trying to do XYZ and do all these things. And she moved to Alabama. Yeah,
that house was a home of refuge.
it was.
So your grandmother may not have been there,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean she wasn't there saying, "Welcome home."
Because I think one of her oldest kids moved there. Well, one of her youngest daughter moved there before I moved there with her young kids, and my brother lived there. My daddy moved there because my dad was living in Chicago. My grandmother was living here. After my brother was killed in Chicago, that's when my dad moved here,
Okay.
and that was in '95. He moved here in '95, so it was just like all the things. It was just
Yeah.
so it's just amazing the stories that the stories I could tell. Oof.
You know what? Your story is so like I wish we had more time to because now I have questions, but we don't have enough time for me to ask all these questions. I want to hear about the relationship between you and your dad, knowing that you end up moving into the same house and like, your mom and all I have so many questions, and I'm
Well,
pretty
I can
sure.
just answer that question. We didn't have one. No, we didn't. We didn't have one. It's just a very eerie story. Like I thought it was going to be different, but I think the reason why my brother didn't want me to come is because he know my dad. After my small story. Ugh. After my mom and my dad divorced, my dad had all this money. He had like money. And after their divorce, because he was making good money for the train station, he ended up basically how he got on drugs and alcohol real bad is that his supposedly, because I wasn't there, right? Supposedly his mother took all his money. And he just, after him and my mom divorced or whatever, because he was abusive towards her, um, my grandmother basically, when he got real bad, that's when she took him in because she felt like she needed to. But my dad had nothing. Like when my mom and my dad divorced, he never paid child support. He never did anything. He never got a job again in life. Never got
Wow.
anything. He became, they said he was bipolar, but I think it may not have been bipolar. I think it may have been more of just what he'd been through as well, right?
Yeah.
But he never was right again. Like never got a job again in life. I tell people, I literally just told somebody a story at work yesterday, a Friday. My mom was 50 years old when she started receiving child supports from checks from my dad. And it
Wow.
was, she got on Social Security.
Wow.
All her kids grown, living in different states with their own kids.
Yeah, that wasn't child support. That was just Social Security, right? Because she was
Well,
married to him at one
no,
point.
no, he was still no. The Social Security, she was getting back child support checks that he never paid.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's a dynamic. Like he never when I say he never got a job again in life, he never got a job again when he left the train station and just the different things. It's just the stories that I've heard over the years is just so like, but it's just eye opening. But
Yeah.
my relationship with my dad, I never had one. Ever. Never
Yeah.
had a relationship with him. It was very uncomfortable. He lived in the house that was towards the back of the house. It was like a separate house from my grandmother's house, but with his own refrigerator and stove and all his own things. Like he never really came in there unless he just wanted to come in there and sit on the porch. Had a relationship with them.
Girl, you have a story. I always say we have a story to tell.
We do.
And your story has, I mean, honestly, I've never heard the story. I've heard like the basics from you, where you're from, where you live, what you do, that kind of thing. But I am blown away by your story. I feel like it gets even deeper. And I just wish we had more time to dive in. But I'm not going to lie and say I don't want to have a part two conversation.
Whenever, just let me know. It's
Listen,
all good.
everybody ends up having a part 2 at some point.
Yes, yes,
Only because, it's beyond, well, it's never beyond the story. The story is always the center of the conversation because everybody, to me, everybody is a reflection of the story,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, gosh, I'm looking at my notes like, what am I missing? What didn't we cover? Because I know it's already 13 minutes past the hour, but my gosh. Girl,
It's
this has been great. I mean, I'm so glad we had an opportunity to sit and just talk honestly. And thank you for your transparency and thank you for sharing.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
Yeah. I'm hoping that someone hears this and your story resonates with them and they say, "Golly, she went through a lot. I went through a lot. And if she can do it, I can do it."
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I always love to tell my story.
Yes. So for one, I'll say congratulations for all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
Right? That you've already accomplished, but not just for what you've accomplished, but what you're going to accomplish
Absolutely.
continuously from Q1 through Q4.
That's it. That's
You
it.
you got this, and you have your Caffeine and Connections members to hold you accountable. And I am so blown away at this whole video. I forgot all about it. Like I remember when you said that, I'm like, oh my God, I remember her talking about that when she first joined us. And I don't think we talked about it, but maybe twice, and then
Yeah.
totally forgot.
Yeah.
I bet y'all won't forget again.
It's still in here. It's still in here. I gotta get the
Hmm.
first phase first. I gotta
Well,
get the
and I think one thing we said in the beginning is, hey, when you're ready to do the videos, let us know
first
so we
no.
can we can watch and critique or whatever it is you need for us to do. And I'm still here for it.
Me too. One, I
So
always be trying to get my daughter to be like, I need you to take a shot. I need you. And she never. My youngest is not the best with the camera. She's not the best with the camera. But I'll even going to work, I'll be like, I need you to take my outfit before I take these clothes off. I need to, showcase my outfit.
yeah, you probably just need like a, what do they call these? Like like a stand or
Yeah, that's
something.
probably what I need. That's probably because I have one.
Yeah.
I never said it never worked to set up right. I don't even have the ring on there. It just kept falling off. So
Yeah, you just probably need one.
a better one for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Good.
All right. Well, keep us posted on everything and these goals and the certification as well as both certifications, PMP and cybersecurity. That's exciting stuff.
Yes, I'm so excited. This is gonna be my quarter that it happens, so we shall see.
Yes, ma'am. And it sounds like Crystal, your friend, also has a similar goal. So very, very awesome. Well, Teresa, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Caffeine and Connections, episode number 2 for 2026.
You're
As our
welcome.
highlight, we finally got a chance to sit and talk. Hopefully, you'll come back and we'll talk some more.
Absolutely.
All right. And thank you all for listening and joining us on this episode of Caffeine and Connections. I'm your girl, Angie, the host. I was joined here by Miss Teresa Huggins. And we're out of here. But don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, peace and love.